welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. It's Greg Boyson with my buddy Mario Terabasi here, and don't forget that our CHGO Blackhawks Podcast is presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up, and you will get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And there's some stuff and things to bet on.
Stuff
on
and
weekends
things coming
starting soon. So
I think Sundays are big days.
that's what I hear.
From what I hear, yeah.
In case you're wondering, it's kind of full circle. We're back to how we started. Jay is in Florida,
Jay's
so
in Florida,
it's just me and Mario today. Kind of brings back memories of when CHGO launched some 6 months ago.
When we were just figuring out what the hell we were doing.
Yes,
but,
and we're still figuring out what the hell we're doing, but we at least
we know a little bit more, but
we can,
still figuring it out.
We could fake it slightly better these days. It's going to be a weird week. Jay is off all week, and then after today, Mario is heading out of town for a few days.
Yep.
So the next 2 days will be me staring blankly into the screen, so tune in for that. Actually, we've got some fun stuff. We're going to do our mailbag Monday on Tuesday, since yesterday was Labor Day, federal holiday.
The mail is usually delayed, yeah.
No mail on Mondays, so it's here on Tuesday, so we got some great questions. And feel free to jump in the chat and ask your question as well.
Absolutely.
We'll get to as many as we can. Tomorrow, I'll be flying solo, but I will have our buddy Joey Z, the great play-by-play announcer of the Rockford IceHogs. We're going to talk about the Rockford IceHogs, all the fun stuff they got going on there, new roster, arena upgrades, so it should be fun. May have a second guest for tomorrow. I haven't put that down in writing yet, but and then
special guest appearance.
Maybe tune in and find out. And then for Thursday we've got Steve and Leah from our PHNX Coyotes crew. We're going to spend the day talking about the Arizona Coyotes. It's a team we're going to be paying attention to a lot this year.
Yeah.
As it's kind of not saying it's just between us and them for number one, but they're our biggest competition.
In the race to the bottom, it's Blackhawks and Coyotes right now in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
With a pretty good head start, I would say.
Absolutely. And so we'll be talking with our Coyotes crew at our sister station PHNX a lot during this season, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll check in.
So we'll get a preview from them on Thursday. Friday, the three of us will be back for an audio only podcast where we will talk about the 2024 free agency class and how the Blackhawks might be players, and then I know we have
some question about that.
Questions about those, so perfect teaser into Friday's episode, which I predict will be highly entertaining.
Yeah, if you've done any research on the projected free agency class for the summer of 2024, you've maybe done a little bit of salivating over what the Blackhawks might be able to do with some of those players and some of the roster flexibility that they have. So I'm excited to get into that discussion, because I've been looking ahead to that 2024-25 season, and I don't know. I got some interesting feelings about where the Blackhawks could be by that time, and I think that actually we have a question about where this team will be, the Blackhawks, once the rebuild is over, and that's a very interesting question. But yeah, let's dig into the mailbag, the big old sack of questions.
We got our guy Joey running the switches today. We're gonna go in start with a Twitter question. This comes from John Van.
John Van with a lot of numbers.
Yes, he is asking. My question is: have any of you guys ever done the shoot the puck segment between periods? I have not.
No.
I have not. Back in the day, when I was a kid, I was never chosen. I was not a celebrity, and I wasn't a blonde with a large chest back in the '90s. Those were the categories.
Those seem to be the boxes that they tried to check.
Regular
off.
Joe. I was too young for that. I was too old to be the
cute kid.
And I definitely was not the hot blonde with the big chest. So no, I have not done that. But maybe that's something we can. Convince them to let us on the ice.
They let us out there to
let us paint it.
To paint center ice, which was a lot of fun, and that was the first time I've ever been on the ice at the United Center. Awesome experience. We talked about that last week, but no, never done the shoot the puck. I feel like I being at center ice for painting the logo and everything. In an empty arena, it was just so having that view and that perspective was so intimidating to be like, oh, this is a gigantic arena. Because when you sit in the stands, you're like, oh yeah, it's a big professional basketball, professional hockey arena and all that. But when you're on the playing surface and you take a 360 spin of the stadium, and then you imagine it full of 20,000, maybe 15,000 for the Blackhawks this year, but you imagine it full and cheering as you're shooting the puck at this little hole in the cardboard or in the cardboard at the net. Like, that's got to be so nerve-wracking.
I think at this point of my life, I don't want to do it because I don't want to make a complete jackass out of myself.
Right.
I have booed enough of the guys that go short or miss 50 feet
Completely
to the left
wide,
or right enough that karma would just have a field day with me. So,
oh man,
as fun as that would be, I'm cool if that never happens. Maybe for a preseason game when there's like 9 people sitting there. Maybe.
Sure,
but
sure. We'll do that.
For like a full regular season or playoff game, I would
playoff game.
Too much pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
I don't
and
like
especially
pressure.
too if you go after like I remember being at a game last year and like a maybe 9 or 10-year-old kid hit on the first try hit the first one. And then first try, hit the next one. And I was just like, after seeing that, I'm like, as a grown adult, how do you follow that up? You
don't. You just wave to the crowd and leave. You don't even shoot. Like, I got nothing. I can't beat that.
Let the kid.
No matter what I do,
let the kid take my shots.
I'm not getting a bigger pop than that kid.
Yeah. So no, never done that, but that'd be quite the experience to do something like that. Let's see here. What do we got next, Joey? From Jen B. Says, how about you discuss some reasons to actually be excited? Really hope there are some. There are, Jen. There are reasons to be excited about the future of the Blackhawks and what this season could potentially represent. I think we've discussed it a number of times, but I think the list of reasons to be excited, things to watch this season, always starts with Lukas Reichel.
For sure. Yeah, that's the guy that going to drive the narrative a lot for going forward, because this season really isn't at all about this season. It's about big picture. It's about the development of Lukas Reichel. Does he take that next step? Does he become that full-time, productive top 6 player? That's what you want to see out of him. You want to know that by the end of this season, heading into to 2023-24, that Lukas Reichel is going to be, for sure, top 6 winger or center, and he's going to be one of your top offensive players. That's what you want to know by the end of it. You don't want to have question marks at the end of this season on him.
No, not at all. Yeah, you want to come out of this season knowing you have a legit NHL player at a young age, and a guy who has a good path of development started. We saw it last year with the Rockford IceHogs, where as a rookie, he was one of a few that played at a point per game pace. To do that as a teenager in the AHL in your first North American season is pretty special to be able to do that. So he got into the NHL last season, looked not bad, not great, but not bad. So you want to hope that this season he shows the jump in his development and can turn into an NHL regular and a guy that the Blackhawks can. I don't think the rebuild is going to hinge on his development, but if he doesn't take the right steps or doesn't really turn into the player that I think the expectations are of him, it definitely doesn't help. It'll hurt the rebuilding plans for sure, and it'll hurt that trajectory. But yeah, I think Reichel is one of the big keys of this season, one of the big things to look out for. All the young players, if and when they get into the NHL lineup, will be a key focus. We saw late last season guys like Alec Regula, Alex Vlasic kind of make some impacts and show what they had at the NHL level. I think those are, again, 2 guys that will be important to watch. Ian Mitchell is, again, kind of like Reichel, but with less leash to work with. You got to see if he's going to be an NHL player or not.
Right.
And that will be a key. And then outside of the young guys, one of the big reasons to watch this season is, for as sad as it might sound, it may be the last time that we see both Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane playing for the Blackhawks. They're in the last year of their contracts, trade rumors galore. The expectations, I think, from the both of us are that they don't finish this season with the Blackhawks. And as it might be a bitter pill to swallow, but this season may be the last time you see them play with the Blackhawks, unless they have extended careers and come back at the end of their career and do a nice homecoming or something like that.
Yeah, that's something. I don't know if that's. And one last thought about Reichel before. You need him to show you that something, because if he struggles early on in the season, you know exactly what a lot of the fans are going to start saying. Oh, here we go again. Kirby Dach Part 2. Here we go. Another first-round bust. Another guy that, high expectations, can't play in the NHL level. So I don't think that would be fair, even if he does struggle, to even make those comparisons, because they're not the same type of player. They weren't drafted,
in the same range.
Yeah, I mean, top 3 pick, you have higher expectations, but it's going to, I mean, there's no such thing as fairness in Blackhawks Twitter, that's for sure.
In all of Twitter, but yes,
right.
especially
so the quicker of a start he gets off to, whenever he's here in Rockford, I think he should be in Chicago all 82 games. Scott Powers of The Athletic has reported this offseason that the Blackhawks may elect to start him in Rockford. Who knows? My philosophy on that is let Lukas Reichel decide where Lukas Reichel plays.
Yes.
In training camp, in the preseason. If he proves that he's here, then he's here. Mm-hmm. If he looks like he needs to have another month in the AHL, then that's what he does. You hit it with a young defenseman. That's something to be excited about. Whoever that first guy is, it seems like the way the roster's built, there's only going to be like one slot for the rookie defenseman.
Oh, especially bringing in Jack Johnson.
Yeah,
definitely.
but you never know.
Clogs that up.
You got injuries. Guys like Johnson and McCabe and Murphy, you can't expect them to play 82 games a year. Connor Murphy, the way his style of play, he's going to miss a game here or there.
Likely,
Jake McCabe, same way. He's going to have a bum shoulder at some point of the year just because he hits so many people. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the defensemen are something to be excited about. And I think just the overall big picture, as I said, don't be too worried about winning and losing and where they finish in the standings. I mean, yeah, we want them to finish low in the standings ideally, but just be excited that you have a team that actually has a direction. It actually has someone at the helm that has a vision beyond tonight's game, beyond this season, a guy that's making moves for 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. We've never had that. Well, we haven't had that with the Hawks in a long, long time.
Right.
So be excited for that. Be excited for the overall direction. Yes, this season's going to be a struggle when it comes to wins and losses and the product on the ice, but just look for the little things, the progression of certain guys. A guy like Philip Kurashev is a guy to watch. Is this the season he says, hey, yes, I am a full-time NHL player, and I'm going to be here beyond this season. Mackenzie Entwistle's another one of those guys. Those are things to just watch for. It's not as glamorous as being an Avalanche fan and being like, okay, when do the playoffs start? It's time to repeat. But there are things, despite the Blackhawks going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year, there's reason to be excited. Not about that, but just about the overall direction of this team. I know it's been a struggle this offseason, having to say goodbye to Alex DeBrincat and
Kirby
Dach. And, the Patrick Kane and the Jonathan Toews storyline is not going away until they either re-sign or they're playing in a different uniform. Those things are hard.
Yeah.
But overall, you should be happy with what has happened in the last year.
My goodness, we have some breaking news here on the show.
Uh-oh.
Our friend, cigarette friend on the balcony, is wearing a shirt.
It's officially fall.
It is fall, ladies and gentlemen.
It is officially fall. Shirtless cigarette guy found his shirt.
The shirt is on. It's 80 degrees today. I'm surprised he went with the shirt, but
Maybe the HOA finally got to him. Said, dude, put a shirt on. I don't know.
Possibly. Yeah, I would.
Or maybe that's his brother. Maybe that was his twin brother.
Twin brother?
That's how you tell them apart.
Plot twist.
One boy's got a shirt, one guy's doesn't.
There you go. Yeah, that would be quite the twist.
Nice stuff. You caught me off guard. I was like, Twitter, what happened? What happened?
No, yeah.
As Jamie says in the chat that very excited for the season. It's kind of fun that every game this season will be a success. Either they win, which is great, or they lose, which is the point. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I mean, you shouldn't be upset with losses this year.
Yeah, I would say if it's probably going to be better for your health to not be on the edge of your seat for every game for wins and losses. Don't live and die with this team on this season because I know people will, and if you want to, go ahead. My warning, as I smash my microphone, my warning is it's going to be a very long season. It's probably going to make it longer if you live and die with every win and every loss.
Yeah.
Because it's the idea going into this season is that, and you look at the roster construction, and I know Jay always says, are they going to be too good to tank? I don't think so. I think you look at the roster and you look at, yes, they have Jonathan Toews, they have Patrick Kane, they have Seth Jones. That's fine. They brought in Andrei Athanasiou, they brought in Max Domi. Peter Mrazek is a huge question mark. So, yeah, if all of those guys hit on their season, yeah, they might be too good to tank. But that's a big if hanging out there that all of those things happen. So
big if, and even if that happens, you got to remember there's going to be 21 games after the trade deadline. A quarter of your season without any of those guys, you can get back to the bottom of the standings in a hurry.
Yeah, and you're in a tough division.
Yeah.
You got
a lot of games.
You got Minnesota. You got the Blues. You got Colorado. Nashville is not going to be an easy team. Dallas is a tough team. Winnipeg, who knows what the hell they're going to be night to night, but they're probably going to be better than the Hawks. And then Phoenix is there, or Arizona. Sorry. So I mean, it's a tough division. So we say race to the bottom, jokingly, but it may not even be a choice. Like you might just be down there, even if you're trying your hardest.
And you got to remember the Arizona Coyotes. Everybody says, "Oh, they're terrible." You look at their roster, and you don't see the name recognition. Hawks couldn't beat them last year when we had Alex DeBrincat and we had Marc-Andre Fleury.
Right.
We couldn't beat them. So
they don't have Phil Kessel anymore. So it's wide open now.
We don't have him either. So
no, that is true. Unfortunately.
Way to take down the mood of the show.
Unfortunately, that is true.
Next question from our guy, Tom. He's in the chat, too.
Yeah, we'll see, Tom.
What would you put the over-under for the number of wins this season? That's a good question. They won 28 last year, I believe, was the win total.
Yeah, because they had the exact same record on the road as they did at home. And they won 14 games each.
28 last year.
Trying to win.
Yes.
Most of the season.
And the lowest win total last year was Montreal at 22. I don't think they're going to be that bad. But you look at the Coyotes last year, they had 25 wins. So I would put, based on losing Alex DeBrincat, losing Kirby Dach, your goaltending situation, all the change, you lost a lot of offense. No Dylan Strome, no Dominic Kubalik.
And the likelihood that maybe past the trade deadline you don't have your best player anymore, which is Patrick Kane.
Exactly. You might not have him at any point. He could play 2 games with his team and be like, after that first road trip, say, the hell with it.
Who knows?
Here. We don't know. But even just assuming that we have the roster we have now through the trade deadline, it's not as good as last year's roster. We had trouble scoring goals last year with Alex DeBrincat's 40 goals, with Dylan Strome's career high in goals, with the threat of Dominic Kubalik maybe scoring a goal every once in a while. Kirby Dach, same situation. You had guys that had the capability of scoring goals, they just didn't.
Try to generate offense.
So 28 last year with that roster. Now, the Luke Richardson factor might get you a win or two you wouldn't have had last year.
Yeah.
Just by his having a coach that has, an idea what the hell he's doing.
Seems like the defensive structure under Luke Richardson will be...
You would certainly hope so.
More... We'll hope to be more successful than it was under Jeremy Colleton and Derek King.
We don't have any evidence to really prove that yet, but just based on
I mean,
talking to him,
just a
and
strategic change can make a difference.
I mean, he knows how to coach an NHL game. Jeremy Colliton came in here never coaching in an NHL game ever as an assistant, anything. So, and Luke Richardson has that over 1,000 games played in his back pocket. So, yes, the coaching will be different. Over under, I would put it at like 24.5.
I was just gonna say 24.5.
Yeah.
That's where I would put it, and
right around there.
You know,
I would probably.
I would put it at 24.5.
And I might bet the over. Like, I'm thinking they're 25, 26 wins.
Yeah, I was going to... We got the same brain. I was going to say I would cautiously bet the over on that one. But when the over-under for PointsBet comes out for their win total, we'll see what it is. It might already be out. We could... why don't we check on...
You check on
I'll check on
I'll
that.
read a couple
we'll see what
comments
PointsBet says and go from there.
Yeah, as Brad says, the team stunk last year with Cat and Fleury. They will be good enough to get a top 3 pick. Yeah, that's the goal. Surf and Duck says 23.5 is his over under, so we're pretty
close.
We're on the same page there. Tom says I'll be happy with 6 wins, 4 against St. Louis, 2 against Detroit. All right,
we'll take it.
Yeah, that's definitely take that. Michael, our guy Michael says, what if they are really terrible? How does that reflect on the new coach? You know, if they're bad, if they're winning because they're just not good enough, you can't hang that on the coach. If they're losing because they're a completely disorganized mess like they were with Jeremy Colliton, then you can hang that on the coach.
Yeah.
If you're losing just because the team on the other side of the ice has more talent than you, but you're competitive and you're structured and you look like you give a damn, but you just lose 4-2 because the other team is just 2 goals better than you, you can't hang that on a coach.
You can tell when a team is engaged in a game, but they're outplayed, and you can tell when a team is looking lackluster and they're being outcoached. It's a small difference, but there are some very noticeable things. I think at the end of Colliton's tenure early last season, I remember watching those games and being like, this team does not care what happens right tonight. And it was body language, it was effort, you could just see that what they were doing and how they were being managed, I think a lot of players were not on board with it.
Yeah, I don't want to say
you can see.
I don't want to say they played to get their coach fired. Like, I don't think they had a team meeting and
I
said,
don't think
let's
that.
get this guy fired, but they certainly weren't upset when that happened. When the player takes the clipboard away from the coach on the bench and starts drawing the play before the power play.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah, that was when I said, this is over. Like, they might as well just fire him right now. Was it Taves that took the clipboard from him?
Might have been.
He went over. It was a timeout before power play. He was going to drop a play, and Jonathan Taves grabs the clipboard away from him and starts
drew it up
pointing
himself.
That's when you're like, what are we doing here?
That was a sign of the end, yeah.
And it was only like 3 or 4 more games there. But I mean, you talk about getting your manhood just surgically removed from you in front of 20,000 people. That's what happened.
And a television audience.
There.
Yeah. I mean, it was. You could tell. And then when the change was made to Derek King, it's it made a difference.
Right. For a bit.
For a little bit, and he was very widely considered a more player friendly coach.
Right.
I think we had him in studio. We've seen him coach at Rockford over the years. His demeanor
there
really
nice get by Joey if you're watching on the YouTube.
It's against Detroit. So it changed under Derek King, but again, they were running mostly the same structure, and you would see things still look discombobulated from time to time. So I think Richardson is coming in. I think he, from all accounts, from what we've been told, what we've been able to decipher from his time with Montreal, it seems like he's going to come in, be more, still be a player's coach, player-friendly coach. He's someone that guys love to play for, from what we've been told and what we've seen. Look at Max Domi. He said he played under Luke Richardson as an assistant when he was in Montreal, and when he was Domi as a free agent, when Richardson was hired here, he said, I want to go play for him in Chicago. So that's how Max Domi got here.
Yeah.
So, you see that example of players wanting to play for Luke Richardson, and I think it will make a difference. I don't know if just the coaching change is going to make the Blackhawks this season not a bottom-tier team. So we'll see. But I think 24.5 wins, you could cautiously look at the over. I think that would be probably in that range. My PointsBet app, for some reason, I don't know if the Wi-Fi is being clogged up here with all of our.
I couldn't get on it earlier.
All of our new Bears.
Yeah, all 68 of our new Bears hosts that we got in the studio today. They might be slowing down the Wi-Fi
here. But,
no, I think it might actually be a PointsBet app problem.
But talking of PointsBet, and the again, you see over my shoulder here.
Yes.
Boom. Promo code CHGO.
Good segue to get into our mid-show reads here before we get to some of your questions. PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until the football season, and it's 2 days? Thursday is the first game. Sunday the Bears kick off the season. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will lock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central. I believe today's Power Hour was they gave you increased odds on your Super Bowl champion pick. Ooh. Maybe that's why I couldn't log on. Everybody was jumping off the Power Hour. But there's some super exciting things that go on. If you have been waiting to join, you've been hearing us for the last 6 months talk about PointsBet, and you're like, I don't know, if you're still on the fence, now is your time to join, especially if you are a Chicago Bears fan. Sign up for PointsBet now using the code CHGO, and you will also get risk-free bets up to $2,000. And don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. If you make a bet of $51 or more for this Sunday's Bears 49ers game, you are going to get an unbelievable package here. You not only get a CHGO membership, so you can check us out on allchgo.com and read all of our great written content about the Bears, the Blackhawks, and everything in between. You're going to get your choice of one of those two. If you're watching on YouTube, look at those sweatshirts right there. You either get the varsity style. I love that, man. I got to see if I can get one.
That's pretty nice.
And then we have the vintage crew sweatshirt, which has our CHGO, like our T-shirt available. So you get to choose one of those two Bears sweatshirt, plus you get our awesome new QB1 Justin Fields shirt as well. So you get the CHGO membership. You get one of your choice of one of those two sweatshirts, plus the T-shirts. And that's all by signing up at PointsBet, making $51, at least $51 worth of bets. You could do it all on one bet. You could spread it out. And those are pregame bets and live betting as well. So take advantage of that. Download the PointsBet app today. Use the code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. Don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counselor and referral services.
If you're getting excited about the start of the football season, that means that you also need to boost that natural energy to stay up. First Sunday of the season, there's going to be a lot of football to watch, and I know that everyone's going to be really excited to watch all that football, but you're going to need the energy to do so. And with the first Sunday of the NFL season comes a lot of maybe some week one parties, some tailgates. Those are notorious for some food options that do a number on your digestive system. So to optimize those things, to boost your natural energy, to improve your gut health, and optimize your immune system, the weather will soon be changing, and people will be getting sick. To do that, I suggest getting yourself some AG1 from Athletic Greens, because in just one scoop of that AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that help you start your day right. And if you have different dietary restrictions, whether it's you eat gluten-free or dairy-free, or you follow different diets like keto or vegan, whatever it is, incorporating AG1, you're good to go. It's a small once-a-day habit with big benefits. And right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Yeah, it's football season is almost here. We're doing our CHGO fantasy draft tonight.
Yes.
I did one last night, a guillotine league, which is a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to our CHGO fantasy league with all of us here. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of fun social media stuff about that as the season goes on. Rumor has it we're going to get a championship belt for the champion. That better happen. That's the only reason I joined this league is to get that belt.
Fantasy football championship belt.
Yeah,
they might need to get.
I would wear that to Hawks games if I win that.
Hey, they might need to get some tag team belts just in case, because me and Joey are teaming up here, co-managing.
It's going to be a problem. We're putting the league on notice. Marijo.
Marijo?
Yeah. I'm not sure how we were going to pronounce it, but I just think our powers combined, I think the rest of the league is trembling in their boots.
Oh, yeah. When you have two people strategizing a draft, I mean,
there's a reason. There's a reason that Jake put me on this show today. So just so we can get the chemistry back going. Draft tonight.
Absolutely.
Good luck, everybody else.
Yeah, it's the superpowers.
Well, that's it. I quit. I'm out.
That's probably smart of you.
Are united.
Oh, you're down to 11. You guys are gonna have to split up and do your own team now.
Damn.
So I was looking.
So if you guys do win as a combined force, it's going to be Jay Zawoski's fault because he dropped out, gave us an odd number.
He dropped out.
We'll give Jay. We'll give him like a third of the title belt.
We'll give him some credit.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of Jay, he's in Disney World, right?
Yes, he's down in Disney with his family.
We sent these pictures.
Staying at the Mighty Ducks Hotel. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's pretty awesome.
And really, all I've been able to think about is just different Disney movies that we could Photoshop Jay into.
That's great.
I like this one a lot.
I love it. See,
we got Captain Jay Sparrow here.
Fantastic.
Captain Jay Sparrow.
I was thinking of, Star Wars, A New Hope Zawoski, but we don't have a Hope Zawoski caricature.
Hope Zawoski is his
so
wife.
So when we get the caricature made of his wife, then maybe we'll go back and try.
We might be
get her permission.
We might be
on
crossing a line if we use her actual face.
Yeah, so that's why we held off with that. I thought
we need permission first.
Exactly.
All right, good stuff, Joey.
Wow,
As always,
that was fantastic.
Our Photoshop, and he literally put those together in like 3 minutes while we were babbling about Lucas Reichel. So if you weren't watching, if you're listening audio only. Go check out the YouTube video just to see these awesome caricatures Joey threw together of Disney. Little Zawoski, little Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jay Sparrow. Nice. I like it. All right, let's get back to some more questions.
We got some more questions.
Yeah. This came from our Discord channel. If you when you become a CHGO member, you get access to our Discord server where you get to ask us questions. And our guy Sung Hung, who is one of our every week you get a question. Yes, one of our longtime question askers. Assuming the young prospects pan out actually within a couple of years' time, is there any big name free agents you guys could supplement this potential young core to make a contender again down the line? Yes, there are. As spoiler alert, Friday's podcast will all be about the 2024 free agent class and a little bit of 2025. There are some some big names coming out. Obviously,
look ahead.
2024, maybe Austin Matthews.
The biggest fish out in the sea is potentially going to be Austin Matthews. So,
or if he's re-signed by Toronto, that likely means William Nylander will be available, and we've already had his dad and his brother.
Yeah,
so
might as well
complete the trilogy and get the best one out of the three.
You got to get all the gauntlet stones.
And if somehow Toronto decides to keep both of those guys together, then 2025, Mitch Marner is available.
One of those players will not be available.
Right. I mean,
to Toronto.
There's no way they're keeping three. They may not even be able to keep two.
I know the salary cap is supposed to jump up. It's not jumping up that much.
No.
Not at all.
The league wouldn't even do that for the Maple Leafs. But there are some big name guys. A guy like Mikko Rantanen is going to be available. Leon Draisaitl is available in 2025. There's options. So yes, and the Blackhawks, as we will deep dive into this in Friday's episode, the Blackhawks will have ideally quite a bit of salary cap money. The $21 million in Taves and Kane will be long gone off the books. Even if they both re-sign, it's not going to be for $21 million.
Not for that much.
The Tyler Johnson contract will be off the books.
Yep.
Peter Mrazek's contract. But there's going to be a lot of cap space there. Granted, you don't want to necessarily spend it all because if Lucas Reichel pans out, he's going to be due for a raise.
That I believe that summer is his RFA year.
Right. So
we'll have to see.
What do you do there? In a perfect world, you're going to have to worry about Connor Bedard's $8 billion contract he's going to need eventually.
Just make him a partial owner of the team.
But
that'll cover it.
I think there will be lots of reasons for top free agents to look at Chicago by 2024. If you get Bedard or Fantilli and your guys from this draft class have progressed. Frank Nazar is ready to be an impact player. Kevin Korchinski's ready to be an impact player. Who knows who else you drafted in 2023 or 2024's draft class. You've got reasons. If Luke Richardson turns out to be the exact coach that he's hired to be and people want to play for him. Yes, and Chucko Mucko said earlier in the comments that he was a little worried that the Blackhawks are going to take, as Corey Proman told us last Thursday, of The Athletic, their prospect expert, said, hey, it may take 7 to 10 years, kind of like a Detroit or an Ottawa or Buffalo.
Yeah.
Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo never had a chance to draft a Connor Bedard. Granted, the Hawks don't have him yet, but the odds are in their favor, at least at this point, that they're going to get one of those top 3 picks. And that can speed up a process pretty quickly. I don't see this being a 10-year rebuild like Buffalo. Buffalo's not even done rebuilding, in my opinion. Neither's Ottawa. Ottawa's close.
Yeah. Both those teams have gotten better.
Right.
But it's not
Detroit,
complete
I'm
for
not
those
sold on Detroit
teams.
yet, even though Steve Yzerman can't do no wrong, and he thinks his team is ready based on all the free agents he signed this year.
They made some big moves.
They went the veteran route. He definitely added guys that a David Perron is a guy that's Stanley Cup winner, been in the Stanley Cup Finals multiple times. So there are reasons to believe that when 2024 and 2025 rolls around and those big names are out there, that the Hawks should be players for those guys and that those guys would want to come to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you want to come to a Chicago? It's an amazing city. It's an original 6 franchise, but the pressure to win here is non-existent.
Not non-existent, but it's different.
Compared to
it's different.
Austin Matthews in Toronto,
right,
where every shift is under the microscope.
Yeah.
Here in Chicago, as far as the Hawks go, if you win, you're the top of the town. Everybody loves you. If you lose, they just stop paying attention. They don't rip you to shreds. They don't send nasty notes to your home address.
Right.
They just stop watching until you get good again. So the pressure is not nearly the same as playing for the Blackhawks as it is playing for Montreal or playing for Toronto. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
So a guy like Austin Matthews could be if they don't win a cup this year and he gets to free agency without that cup yet, he could be why would I want to stay here? Mm. We're not winning. The pressure it's not worth the grief. Hey, this Blackhawks team looks kind of fun. I get to stay in a big city. I get to stay in the spotlight. Number 34 is a very popular number in this city.
Yeah.
Plenty of reasons for a guy like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, Bedard and Matthews taking the ice off
my God.
For opening night of 2024-25, that rebuild is looking pretty damn good.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility that this team could have going into that summer, and I think there's, Bedard is a possibility. He's the goal of this season, and just like with a guy like Connor McDavid, with a guy like Austin Matthews, when they were first drafted, they made, obviously Edmonton and Toronto. Those are markets that are pretty die hard and hockey hotbeds, but they made those teams more attractive to free agents because it's I have an opportunity to go and play with this generational talent. And by all accounts, that's what Connor Bedard's could be, should be. So, yeah, I mean, if that ends up being a reality in Chicago where Connor Bedard is a Chicago Blackhawk, there is going to be a lot of intrigue around the league for, established NHL players to play with a guy who has that kind of skill. Yep. There's even the possibility that a guy like maybe Patrick Kane decides he sees enough from this team this season, from Luke Richardson, from management, whatever it might be, to say, you know what, I will stick around. I will stay in Chicago, and I will, play the rest of my career as a Blackhawk and try and set these records. Playing with a guy like Patrick Kane can be intriguing to some of those free agents. So there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of opportunity for this team to look very different than it does right now. And that's the goal, is what you see right now is not going to be the long-term plan.
No.
And, if you look at like Cap Friendly or Puckpedia or whatever site you prefer to use, and you look at the Blackhawks contract situations, going into the 24-25 season, there is only 3 players on a contract right now that will be on contract by the time that season comes. It's Seth Jones, Connor Murphy, and Jake McCabe. One of those 3, I would put a shiny nickel on PointsBet to say that one of those 3 will not be on the team by 2024-2025.
I'd be willing to bet 2 of those 3 will not be here.
Potentially. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of directions that this team could go. And with the free agent classes that 2024 and 2025 projectedly will have, projectedly, is that a word?
It is now.
That they may have some of those players in there. There could be a lot of wheeling and dealing that the Blackhawks could do. And if you have a couple prospects come up and solidify themselves as like, hey, we're going to be NHL players, you supplement that with some core veterans, and then maybe a star or 2, because we keep hearing about this major jump in the salary cap that's coming. If that's the case, there's going to be money to spend. So it'll be interesting to see how how Kyle Davidson constructs this team as that time comes, because right now it's like, let's see who our young guys are. Let's see what the identity of this team is going to be, and then in the 2023-24, 2024-25 seasons, let's see what we can construct to be competitive within that identity. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how things go into that season for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we had a question about when the rebuild is complete, what is this team going to look like?
I think that was one of our Discord questions, Joey. There it is. From Tony's BAC, our buddy in Discord. I wonder if he's going to change his name to Tony's EKG now. Was that the right question?
No, the question was from our friend No Roids Just
there
Rage.
we go. Yes,
Says,
Landon on Twitter. Yeah.
My question is that the 2024 free agent class is looking great. Do you think the Blackhawks will make a splash signing? Oh, we got that one. We pretty much hit that.
Yes,
in discussion.
We're deeper diving into that.
Yeah,
Friday
we'll have an entire hours long discussion about that, because there is a lot to get into. But no, we had a question. I think it came from Twitter, but it was about what is the team going to look like once the rebuild is complete. How are they going to win games? Are they going to be winning games 2-1, 1-0, 4-3, run and gun, anything like that? But I think it's really hard to project out what this team will look like when the rebuild is complete, because as you mentioned, when we talked with Corey Pronman last Thursday, he's saying, maybe it's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. We don't know. It could be really quick. Right. We don't know. So I think from what we've seen Kyle Davidson do in free agency and through the draft, and the kind of coach that he brought in Luke Richardson, I think he's establishing what he wants the identity to be for the Blackhawks moving forward. And I think what he's doing is kind of adapting to the style of play that the rest of the league has already kind of figured out, or at least molded a winning strategy to. Is you need guys who can skate. You need guys who are going to be competitive all the time. The skill will come. So I think what we've seen with Davidson so far is making an investment in players who can skate, players who can be hard to play against, and not just hard to play against where, they're just going to rough you up after the whistle. No, guys who use their speed and their effort and their forecheck, back check strength, yes, to be hard to play against. And I think that is what Kyle Davidson is trying to instill in the Blackhawks in their culture. You see it with, one of his first trades was flipping Alex Nylander for Sam Lafferty, a guy who uses speed effectively and is going to try his ass off night in and night out. May not score, double-digit goals, but he's going to make he's going to make every shift count. You look at Max Domi, Andreas Athanasiou. Max Domi is a pain in the ass to play against. We've seen it for his entire career. Andreas Athanasiou has a ton of speed. Now, granted, these guys aren't going to be here for much longer than this season, but those are the players that he's going after. And you look at the draft. Yeah, he got some guys with some high-end talent, but a guy like Kevin Korchinski, Frank Nazar. But then you look at some of the depth picks that he made in this last draft. Jay's guy Samuel Savoy, Ryan Green, Paul Ludwinski. Like, these are guys that they have those toolkits where it's speed, it's energy, it's effort, it's being tough to play against, and then you supplement it all with some of the guys that are going to come in and have skill. You can't have 18 skaters that are all skill all the time. That's not going to work in the NHL. You need to have guys who are going to play roles to be difficult to play against, kill penalties, be physical, be fast. And be a puck possession team.
You need those Sam Laffertys. That's where your Mackenzie Entwistles, your Reese Johnson type players pick it. Like, a lot of people last year were like, why are you re-signing Reese Johnson for 2 years? You need a guy like that, to fill out a roster. Is that a guy you build around at the early stages of your rebuilding process? No, but that's not what he was signed for.
He plays a role.
And I think, as we can't really, I think the context of the question was, are they going to be a team that grinds out a 2-1 win or win 4-2? And it's way too early to declare what it is, but Kyle Davidson has told us he wants speed. He wants to, if you were to say, would they be closer to the 2019 Blues that just kind of like beat you in the submission? Or the 2022 Avalanche that just skated you out of the building? He wants to be more like that Avalanche team.
Yeah.
Now, does he get to that point? We don't know. But he's definitely putting the wheels in motion. He wants speed. Dylan Strome is no longer Chicago Blackhawk because he doesn't fit that vision of being that elite type skater. Same. You could say the same about Dominic Kubalik. Those guys are gone because they don't fit that mold, that idea. And look at the draft class this year, as you said. They're all guys who are super fast.
Speed and energy effort was in pretty much every one of their draft profiles. So I think it's a clear vision that Davidson has. And look, as far as being a team that tries to grind out wins or tries to skate past you and score 7 goals a game, I think what we've seen in recent years is the good teams that make the playoffs, make noise in the playoffs, and win Stanley Cups have the ability to do both. Like, if you look at the Avalanche just this past season, yes, guys like McKinnon and Makar grab all the highlights and the headlines for their speed and their skill, but top to bottom, there was a reason that going into the playoffs, it really looked like the Avalanche were like, you could pencil them into the Stanley Cup final just because top to bottom, they were better at every line, every pairing, top to bottom, the depth that they had and the types of players that they had. You could see them beating every other team in the West in a 7-game series. Yeah. And I think teams that are able to do that are teams that, win games in different ways. Look at the Dynasty Blackhawks.
We had it here, yeah. They roll 4 lines and they weren't worried about.
You could win a game in triple overtime 7-6 if you needed to.
And Marcus Kruger scoring that triple overtime goal.
Right. Every goal didn't have to come from Jonathan Toews or Patrick Kane.
Or they could beat you 1-0 if they had to.
Yeah. Look at Game 6 of the 2015 Cup Final. They get 1 goal late in the second period, and then they put the clamps on. Yep. And it was just like, so you got to be able to have.
They could beat you at your own game, whatever it is. And that's what the Avalanche could do too. There were some games that were a little tighter played. The end of the once the Lightning realized they can't skate with them, they did everything they could to slow them down. They said, we're going to like sacrifice all of our offense to win this game 1-0. And the Avalanche said, okay, we'll beat you 1-0 then. And they did.
Right, yeah.
And the Blackhawks were able to do that too. That's what the championship teams could do. They don't necessarily force their will against every team, and they could play any style you want and beat you at it.
Yep.
So that hopefully that's what the Hawks got
is the goal.
coming up.
That is the goal.
All right, let's get back to.
I saw another question I liked.
Yeah,
we cycled through them, but yeah.
Yeah, I put this on for a reason, and I knew when I heard Joey was going to do it, I knew there was going to be some photos.
Discord?
This is Discord from Will the Scout 7. I've already sent an email to have him banned from the server after asking this question. Just kidding. Since the season is likely to be dark and depressing, what type of success would it take to get Greg to shave his head?
Oh, my.
Yeah, that's why that is never going to happen.
Oh, man. Greg, I did not know that your head was thumb-shaped.
It kind of is. There are a lot of reasons I will never shave my head. A, because I have a gigantic melon, and this great mane helps. Like, if this was shaved, I would literally look like Humpty Dumpty sitting up here, and that's just not good for viewers. Our YouTube viewership will plummet.
I mean, the hair is part of your identity.
The hair and the shirts are kind of my thing. You don't tug on Superman's cape and all that stuff, but
don't mess with a guy's thing.
You could say. And two other reasons on a selfish standpoint. I don't want all the gray that's underneath it to start showing.
That's true.
And I'm scared shitless that if I shave it, it's never coming back. I'm at the age where I just got to appreciate it because, I'm on the wrong side of 40, and who knows if it's ever coming back. So I'm not messing with it. So even if they go 82-0 and win the Stanley Cup, I'm still not shaving my head. Sorry, I'm not worried that that's going to happen. But you will never have me risk my hair in any sort of bet.
We already got one beard bet from Jay, saying that if the Blackhawks finish outside of the bottom 3 in the standings this season, he will get rid of the beard.
Reddy Edgemont says, shave it if we get first overall. No, because I want them to get first overall.
There's a higher likelihood of that happening.
I'll shave my beard, or I'll do a Fu Manchu facial hair if the draft pick get number 1 from Chris. Sure, I can do that. That'll be fine. We can... however you want. I'll do anything with the facial hair because I know that will come back.
Yeah, that'll come back.
And if it looks terrible, I can get rid of it after one day. In a week, nobody will know. But the hair on top of my head, I'm going to let that fall out naturally. It's doing a good enough job of that on its own. But thank you for the question. There it is.
Greg's big melon.
It is. I mean, that's a little scary, but
it looks like the Hulk.
I mean, I'm a 7 3/4 fitted hat, so that's why I can't wear the snapback hats because
is that big 7 3/4? You should talk to Big Dave. He's got a whole regime that he's got the hat stretcher where he puts it on. He'll turn the crank and it will expand the hat.
Well, Big Dave's got a lot of hair to cover.
Right,
it extends his circumference of the hat. You know, Greg could relate. He's got a lot of hair as well too. But big head hat wearers got to stick together.
Yeah, Dave and I are gonna have to have. We'll have to have a chat here. We'll have to talk about something besides wrestling the next time we're hanging out. We'll talk about hats.
Yeah. Speaking of wrestling, quite the weekend in Chicago. You were in attendance.
Yes, we get shout out to our guy CM Punk for being the new AEW World Champion, and that wasn't even the thing that endeared me the most. I was at the big All Out show in Hoffman Estates. Ton of fun. It was a great match. CM Punk had the Chicago flag theme big match whites on, bled all over the place, won the title, and then afterwards on the press conference. After a very interesting press conference,
he
where
aired some dirty laundry.
He did, but it's wrestling, so it's probably a work. People are, is that real? It's wrestling. Assume it's not. But what was very real was I guess there was a reporter in the front row wearing a Penguins hat, and he, just like myself, has not forgiven the '92 Penguins for beating the Blackhawks and Dirk Graham. and went on a little. You could see it on the CHGO Blackhawks Twitter feed.
We put
We're not going to put it
there
on the show. YouTube might get mad at us because there are some 4-letter words in there. Basically, was
one specific 4-letter word.
It begins with an F. Basically said F. Sidney Crosby, F. Malkin, and F. Ron Francis. Yeah, how do you like that? F. Ron Francis. So CM Punk, I was a mark ahead of time, but now I'm a big, even bigger fan because you share a hatred of those 92 Penguins.
Oh yeah.
So and again, Mr. Punk.
Mr. Punk.
There is plenty of chairs here at the CHGO studios. We would love to have you on. We have an open invitation. You can show up, knock on our door, and we will get you on the air. We don't even have to talk wrestling. We could talk hockey. Let's make that happen next time you're in Chicago for a big show. Put the championship belt on the table.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And before we wrap up, we still got a couple minutes left. I would like to get to Tony BAC's question on Discord. We want to make sure we get our Discord people taken care of. The Hawks have a bunch of defensive prospects, but not a lot of depth at forward. How soon do you think the new regime starts making moves on the guys they don't like? There aren't enough spots in Rockford for all the D graduating from juniors over the next season or two. That's a very good observation.
It's true.
I think a lot of those guys could be potential trade chips, or much like Wyatt Kalnock, they're just kind of like, we're moving on.
I would say, given the fact that some of these guys are some of those players in that group of, are they going to be part of this team or not? I think I would lump one of them in, Nicholas Beaudin. I think he's a former first-round pick, hasn't really made the leap yet from has all the potential in the world to realizing it. So it'll be interesting to see what his role is, likely to start the season in Rockford, see what his playing time is, because they have a lot of young defensemen that are going to need minutes in Rockford and eventually will need minutes in the NHL. So you look at a guy like Nicholas Beaudin, Jakub Galvis, Isaac Phillips, Alex Vlasic and Alec Regula, Ian Mitchell. These young guys, Caleb Jones is still a young guy, ish, kind of figuring out what his role is going to be. They got to figure some things out, and we could see as early as this year's trade deadline, if some of those players will be used as throw-ins for future deals or whatever. Be able to entice some teams maybe out of a draft pick or two, or see what happens. But I think as early as this trade deadline, we could start seeing a little bit of a thinning out process of the defensive depth group, because you got guys like Nolan Allen, Ethan Del Mastro, Kevin Korchinski, these guys that are likely going to leapfrog some of those players, or the hope is that they at least challenge them in the depth chart, positioning. Those guys are going to be coming up quick, so it'll be interesting to see if and when Hawks management starts to pull the trigger on some of those deals, because they have some intriguing players that could entice some other teams, I think.
Yeah, it's not a bad problem to have. It is not a bad problem
it's a good thing
to have too many young defensemen and not enough roster spots for
It's a good thing.
Right. So, and it's a good thing for these guys this year in Rockford. A guy like Nicholas Beaudin, it's now or never, dude. Like, your first round pick
season.
You're in your fourth professional season. We haven't seen that jump yet. And you were a healthy scratch during the Calder Cup playoffs. And as you just mentioned, we just drafted 2 more first round defensemen. We've got other guys that are going to be here after this year.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't light a fire under his ass, then it is time to move on.
Right.
So that's a guy that I'm most interested in watching. I haven't given up on him. He's still 21 years old. I'm not ready to say that was a bust. I'm leaning in that direction, but I'm not ready to declare it. Yeah. I want to see something from him this year. A guy like Jakub Galvis came out of nowhere last year, had a huge preseason, got a little bit of time in it. That's another guy. So these are the guys that they're either going to make the decision hard and say, hey, we're going to force our way to Chicago,
yep,
or they play well enough to where other teams are going to call and say, hey, we know you're not going to have room for Jakob Galvis after this year. Here's, we'll trade you. And as Tony's BAC in the original question said, maybe that's how you swap to get some more forward prospects. You swap a defensive prospect for a winger,
right?
A 21-year-old winger that's a year or two away from making the jump. That's how you can build those pieces as well. Not necessarily just trade him for third or fourth round picks. Trade him for another prospect that's coming up, but maybe a guy in the same situation as Nicholas Bodine that plays forward, that was a first-round pick 2 or 3 years ago, that maybe can use that change of scenery too. Mm-hmm. Lots of options. Right now, all those guys in Rockford, all those guys we've drafted, they're currency. They're currency. Until they're NHL players, you have to look at them as they are things that could be used to get you other things if need be. Otherwise, you hope they progress and become productive NHL players. So Kyle Davidson has a lot of trade chips beyond – the guys he signed this year, beyond a Patrick Kane. He's got some desirable things that could help him pick up the slack in other areas or add more draft picks if that's what he's got his heart set on. It's somebody earlier in the comments mentioned that he heard that Davidson was a Bowman shill. And
50 cents.
50 cents. I got it. Sorry. I was just quoting the question, but I'll add it there.
I saw that. I saw that comment.
I'll pay
too.
it when Jay pays his $7. But he did work under He Who Shall Not Be Named for all those years. But if he hasn't proven you that he's the exact opposite by now, he never is going to. He's got a vision. He Who Shall Not Be Named never had that. And he's got,
not a sustainable one.
He's got, if you just look at some of the moves he's made as far as people he's gotten rid of, both on the ice and off the ice. If you've got that attachment, you're likely being told thanks but no thanks and moving on. Guys that He Who Shall Not Be Named drafted very high. Guys like Kirby Dach. I'm not saying that's why they're gone, but he's got no attachment to that.
Yeah.
That's who, he's not loyal to anything that He Who Shall Not Be Named did.
Right, exactly.
So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. I think you look at it through the draft, through free agency moves, through trades, and just kind of the way that the front office structure has been created around Kyle Davidson. To me, none of it speaks of the prior regime at all.
Right.
It really feels, and that's why, say what you will about being optimistic. That's why I feel a lot of optimism for the plan moving forward for the Blackhawks, because it's not just turning over the same cycle of, let's just go for it and figure it out later. Let's make a big splash in free agency, even though we bottomed out last year. It's moving forward with as blank and clean as a slate as possible. And Davidson's going to do more cleanup duty. He's already done a lot of what the previous front office of what he inherited from them. So I am optimistic about what Davidson's doing, because it's something different, and it seems like it is something it's being done in a more sustainable fashion. Because going into each year with a different plan, it's not going to work, and that's why we're here. So going into a season where it's like, hey, we have a 3, 4, 5 year plan, 10-year plan, whatever it is, to get back to the top of the league and stay at the top of the league. I'll buy into that over, well, we'll figure it out next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're complaining that Davidson is like his former boss, at this point, I don't know what to tell you.
You're not paying attention.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried about it at this point. This is a man that I think is trying to do everything in his ability to prove that he's not the former regime.
Yeah.
So far, it's working. So, we can't predict the future, and if, he gets comfortable, he changes. But, so far, it's the exact opposite.
And if you want to do a little reading and learn a little bit about new Blackhawks general manager Kyle Davidson in his life experience off the ice. Shout out to our friend Ben Pope at the Chicago Sun-Times. Over the weekend, published a really interesting story about Davidson and some of the health issues that he's had to overcome in recent years. Really interesting to read that and find out about everything he's gone through with heart condition and what he has to do to stay on top of those things. So really interesting read from Ben Pope, who we are going to try and have on sometime before the season starts.
He's always magically out of town when we call, but that's okay. He's earned all those vacations. Ben does a great job for the Sun-Times. Hopefully, we're going to get able to sit down with Kyle Davidson himself at some point here before the season starts.
That'd be nice.
It's always good to get the human aspect of all these guys. We got a little bit of that with Derek King and Luke Richardson, and when we had Colby and Chris Voster's in studio. It's always nice to get to know the person behind who we see on camera or who we read about, and to know that, Kyle Davidson, he struggles daily like we all do with different things. So he's not just this hockey robot that goes up in front of the camera and tells you why he traded away Alex DeBrincat. So good read by Ben. That is a good one. I think that going to sort of kind of wrap up this Mailbag Monday on a Tuesday. Before we go, if you are enjoying CHGO, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't, one way to help us continue to grow is to download that PointsBet app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Not only you can get 2 free risk-free bets up to $2,000 and a free CHGO membership, so you can get all of our great written content at allchgo.com. If you make at least $51 worth of bets on this weekend's Sunday afternoon's Bears 49ers game, you are going to get a tremendous offer. You're going to get that CHGO membership. You're going to get the Bears QB1 Justin Fields t-shirt, and you get to choose of one of 2 awesome sweatshirts. You see them there if you're watching on our YouTube. You're going to get the classic crew sweatshirt or that varsity style zip. That thing is just amazing. We need to get some of those in the office.
I feel like we're going to see a lot of those down at Soldier Field this year.
Yeah, those are fantastic. So download the PointsBet app, sign up using the promo code CHGO. Help us all out. Another way to help us out is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get turn those notifications on so you never miss a CHGO Blackhawks post-game show, a Bears post-game. We got it all covered. You'll get all the notifications of all our great shows and all of our great content. And if you head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us one of them 5-star reviews. Say a few nice words. Those are like gold. Those are going to help us a lot too.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate all you guys jumping in the chat. Sorry we couldn't get to all your questions. But we appreciate all you guys jumping in. We appreciate all the great comments you guys have been leaving us. Without you guys watching and chiming in and participating, we wouldn't have a show. So we are grateful for all of you great CHGO subscribers and listeners. That will wrap up this Tuesday show. Mario, have a safe trip down to the land of predators. Enjoy your wedding.
Tennessee, what did you so we know.
Well, I mean, this is a hockey podcast.
Yes, I'm going to Tennessee.
Music City. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself down there.
It'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
So it will be me and Joey Z talking IceHogs tomorrow, maybe a second guest. Thursday, I will have Steve and Leah from PHNX Coyotes. We're going to preview the Coyotes. We're going to see which team is really going to get Connor Bedard. We're going to solve that question for you on Thursday. And then Friday, 2024 free agency talk with me, Jay, and Mario. The crew will be back for Friday audio only. So, Mario, we'll catch you next week. Safe travels.
Thank you.
And for the rest of you, I will be seeing you guys tomorrow here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. Thank you, everybody.